I'm Roz Rothstein, and welcome to Stand With Us on JLTV, America's Chosen Network. I'm here today with Peggy Shapiro, and I am so excited because, Peggy, you are a force of nature. Seriously, when we hired you, how many years ago?
This month, it's 7.
Oh, my God. 7 is a lucky number.
Yes, it is.
Good things are going to happen in the 7th year, right? 7 years.
Absolutely.
So Peggy Shapiro has been the executive director of our Midwest office based in Chicago.
Yes.
And you have done so much to educate the people all over the place in your region. It's really quite remarkable. But before we hear about all that, tell us what motivates you. I know you're a daughter of Holocaust survivors just like me. Is that part of what motivates you?
I was born an Israel activist. Literally, I was born in Landsberg, Germany, where that's the place Hitler had written Mein Kampf, which is supposed to stop my birth and the birth of all future Jewish children. I was born out of the same ashes and hope that gave rise to the state of Israel. And if you promise not to tell my age at the same time. So Israel was a sibling in my family. I had 2 brothers, and Israel was the 4th child in our family. So the connection was essential to who I am.
And so I would ditto that, except I'm born just a few years later. Don't tell anybody. And so I know that it's a driving force for me. I'm sure that it's a driving force for you. It continues to be. So tell us some of the things that you've done. For example, I know that you have been such a force in educating people in the Hindu community, in the Christian community. Tell us just a little bit about that.
You know, Israel has a lot of friends, and there are lots of communities who want to do things with us and to support Israel. All we have to do is ask. When I one time invited a few Hindu leaders, for example, and South Korean leaders over to my house for dinner, I said, let's do something because all 3 countries are going to celebrate their 65th anniversary. Let's have a party together. They loved it. And we had a birthday party for the 3 communities of one of the fanciest places in Chicago. And we had the consul general and community leaders. And that started such a beautiful relationship because we called it Ancient Cultures, Modern Miracles. Because the 3 communities are very similar. They have a lot of the same concerns and the same pride. So it was one of the things that we did to bring people together.
That's so nice. And can you talk a little bit about your outreach to those communities when you go and you speak, delivering materials?
For example, after this, I was invited to be a keynote speaker at a South Korean Young Leadership Conference. And I talked to them about their families that are in North Korea and how a divided country and how when you can't contact your families. And I told them the experience of my family during the Holocaust and where there were no human rights and so on. And I explained that we had so much in common as far as our concerns and having a threat on the border, and Israel has a threat on the border. And yet they're modern miracles of the achievements and the great things that are going on in South Korea, while in North Korea there's so much deprivation. So we may think these are opposite ends of the earth, but there's a lot in common. So I spoke to 100 young Korean leaders. With the Hindu community, they invited in a few speakers, and one was a Dr. Swami who arranged for the first trade between Israel and India. And we had a beautiful event. We brought Israeli food, they brought Indian food, and we got to know each other. So when I have something like a rally that we have to call, Pillar of Defense or whatever, at our rallies you don't just see Jewish people that look like me. You see all different kinds of ethnicities and races standing together for Israel.
So our mission statement, Stand With Us, educating people around the world about Israel, is not just about educating Jewish people around the world about Israel, although we need to do that too.
Yeah.
First line of defense, it really is a poor defense that we have unless we strengthen the information that our own people have. But certainly reaching out has been a big priority for you, and thank you for that. That's really super, super important.
So coming up, we have 25 churches in Brookfield, Illinois, who are hosting the end of June a Stand with Israel program. And I do not believe there are any Jews living in Brookfield, Illinois. And this is going to be our 4th year of doing a huge program with music and food, and half of it is in Spanish because there are a lot of Spanish-speaking churches involved. And it's a celebration that it's phenomenal. It's beautiful.
Wow. That sounds so great. Yeah. I know that our other offices are also doing some work like this, but I think you take the prize for all the different offices in terms of this kind of outreach on a regular basis. So we're going to take a brief break right now, Peggy, and we'll come right back with you on Stand With Us, and we'll be talking about other challenges that you've had locally, which I know there have been
Yes.
many. Okay, don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Stand With Us on JLTV, America's Chosen Network. So we're here with Peggy Shapiro, the Executive Director of the Midwest Office of Stand With Us, doing amazing, amazing work. Peggy, thank you. I'm publicly thanking Peggy Shapiro for all the incredible work she does. You really are a force of nature. I remember when we first hired you, I just want to say this. Larry Hochberg, who is on both of our boards, he has been on our board forever at Stand With Us and helped us so much and helped so many other organizations grow so beautifully. Larry said to me, if Peggy Shapiro cannot grow this office, nobody can. I'll never forget that. So before we talk to Peggy again about all her amazing work and the challenges that you've been facing, I just want to remind everybody, if you know of a foundation, if you have a foundation, please support our incredible work, which is now international, around the world, dealing with all the things that you hear about on Stand With Us on this station. But I would like to encourage you to go and get your free literature at standwithus.com. At the very top, look for resources and then say, Roz Rothstein said I could have one piece for free. Please send it to me, and pick something. So, okay, back with you, Peggy.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the challenges that you have faced locally.
Challenges are popping up all over the place. In fact, one of the places they pop up is billboards. And luckily, we have a strong network of people. So if they find one, they call. And for example, just a few months ago, in Michigan, one of our board members saw a billboard that claimed Israel's not first, America first, the dual loyalty charge against
the implication of the dual loyalty.
Right, dual loyalty. So
we're talking about a message, a mean-spirited message on a billboard in an area that will be seen by hundreds of thousands of people. So we get very concerned about misinforming people.
So I sent out an e-blast to all the people in our Michigan community and asked them to let the billboard company know how offensive this is, how wrong and how misinforming. That was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. By 10 the next morning, the billboard company had taken down the billboard and apologized, saying they didn't realize the political implications, the ethical implications, and so on.
Yeah, they weren't paying attention.
You know, someone just said they want to put up a billboard and they didn't pay.
They paid for it.
But now they will pay attention. And we've had other incidents like that. And
can I give credit to the billboard company? Do you remember the name of the billboard company?
I don't remember the name. I remember the name of the one in Chicago.
Okay.
And
Well, whoever you are, thank you.
Yeah, it was in Michigan.
From
and
all of us.
The Chicago Billboard Company did the same thing, and that was Lamar. And so they took down.
So thank you, Lamar, for taking down really awful messaging.
Yes. So we have just this army of activists, people who know where to call, give us a call, and know that we're going to do something about it. Sort of the 411 of anything that's anti-Israel.
You're activists on the ground, the eyes and ears that will see the billboard and say, wait a second, this does not look right. It's an unfriendly, misinforming message.
So we just had noticed that this woman, Rasmea Odeh, was going to be speaking at a Jewish Voice for Peace conference at the end of March. Rasmea Odeh is a convicted terrorist. She murdered 2 young Israeli students in 1969. She confessed the day after she was arrested. She was imprisoned and then released on a massive prisoner swap in Israel for 1 Israeli. She came to the United States under false pretenses, and then she said on her application for immigration, where it's in capital letters, have you ever been convicted of a crime? It was in capital letter. And she said no. So she answered falsely. She was then prosecuted for falsifying her papers, for fraud. She was convicted, then she went for an appeal. And in the process of waiting until mid-May, when her appeal was supposed to be, she wanted to go on a spree to rehabilitate her image from being a murderer to a martyr. And so we came in and we started getting out a public information campaign to let people know who she really was. And even though she was...
Who she really is.
Who she really is, because she's unrepentant. She never said she was sorry for murdering those boys who went to take a can of coffee off of a shelf in a supermarket in Israel and were blown to bits. She never said she was sorry. And so we started a campaign, and it grew so that so many people got to know about her, and we had a service, a memorial service for her victims at the same time that she was speaking. It went out live streamed to about 150,000 people. And when she found out, I think, that she couldn't change that public image and rehabilitate herself before her court date, she accepted a plea agreement.
Right, right. So, a couple things for our audience. If you've never heard of JVP, the group that was hosting this woman who planned that murder of the 2 Israelis and hurt a lot more people than those
9 more
2.
people were seriously wounded.
Okay, 9 more people. I mean, this was a terrorist event, and she was responsible.
Yeah, and she also planned the bombing for a British embassy.
So, wow. So, just so you know, Jewish Voice for Peace is an anti-Israel group. I don't believe that they think that the state of Israel should exist in the first place. So they're just far left radicals. They're the ones who were going to host her. So we're going to need to take a break now.
Okay.
But we will be right back with the great Peggy Shapiro.
Okay.
Welcome back to Stand With Us at JLTV. I'm Roz Rothstein, your host, and we're here with Peggy Shapiro, the director of our Midwest operations. And we were talking a minute ago about Rasmea Odeh, who I think you really were able to tell the other side of the story with all the work you did on that while she was trying to create this new image for herself. You really brought back the facts and made sure that people knew exactly who she is. So thank you for that and all your work on that. So now let's shift gears a little bit. I know you've been working really hard on something else very, very important. We now have nearly 20 states who have passed bills that are anti-BDS bills. And I know that you have been leading and working with other organizations on this very issue. Can you tell us about your work, and can you tell us why this is so important?
It started, the anti-boycott legislation started when the EU was imposing labels, was going to impose labels on Israeli products, and when the UN started making a blacklist of some companies in Israel, and we realized that we have to take some proactive measures here. Also, the states' economies can be really threatened by boycotting of Israel, because states do a lot of business with Israel. The pressure on those companies can financially hurt the citizens of the state. It's a two-way street. So we wanted to do legislation that prevents companies or prevents entities that try to boycott Israel from gaining a foothold. So states have total authority over their commerce. They can conduct commerce as they see fit. So we went to state, and actually states are now coming to us, said you can have legislation that you will not do commerce that can be investing with pensions or contracting or both with entities that boycott Israel. It's not good for your state, and it's not good for your policy. And we gave the states the information about how many jobs are impacted in the state and the effect. And they lined up to pass the legislation. Now, every state is a little different. It's complicated how to maneuver in each state. But once the state legislators were educated, they want this anti-boycott legislation.
So give us an example of what just happened with Texas, because that was significant.
Now, Texas has a $500 billion economy.
Okay, you heard that. $500 billion economy.
We're working with real money now.
Okay.
And their legislation, which I think was signed by the governor last month, says if you boycott Israel, then you cannot have any contracts with our economy, and you cannot have investment from the state. That sends a strong message, because if you have a huge company and wants to do business in Louisiana or Nevada or some other place, but they're already put on that they can't do business with Texas, other states will be alerted, even if they don't yet have the legislation. So this prevents boycotting, and it protects companies from having to deal with economic warfare. It lets them just do their business, make money, pay their employees, and not have to do all the political garbage that comes with it.
And it saves them from getting political.
They don't have to be,
them,
yeah.
And they don't have to get political.
Right. And
I
have
to
do
business.
Just do business. And to be very clear, none of this legislation has any impact on speech. It's commerce only. It's conduct only. It's not your intention. It's not if you love Israel, if you hate Israel. You can stand on the rooftop and say anything you want. But it's how you conduct your commerce, period.
So I know that you have taken a big lead on this. I know this is extremely important to the state of Israel, to fairness, to peace, to everything. Can you give a shout out to your partners?
I work with the greatest people, and we work in seamless cooperation. Now, to think that all these organizations work in seamless cooperation,
well, that's a feat to begin with.
That is a miracle. That is a miracle. But
you heard it right here.
Yeah,
groups working together. It's amazing.
It is, and it's unbelievable. Israel Action Network, Israel Allies Foundation, the Israel Project, the AJC, the American Jewish Committee, Israeli American Council, and Christians United for Israel.
There you have it.
And we talk every week, every single week, and we work together beautifully.
So can you imagine that on this one very, very important critical issue, that all these groups are working together so beautifully?
Yeah.
But I want to thank you personally, because you have really been a mover and a shaker in this field. So 20 states already.
Almost right.
Almost.
By the end of the week, I think we're going to hear something.
Okay.
For the number 20.
And I'm sure you have inside information.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Stay tuned for number 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Peggy, unfortunately, our time is so limited, and I would love to do another show with you. Will you come back?
Gladly, just invite me. It was a pleasure.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for all your great work. I want to remind everybody out there to watch the show and to tell your friends about it. And also, if you know of a foundation, or if you have a foundation, or if you just want to write a check to stand with us, please support our efforts, because as you can tell by the work of Peggy Shapiro, who's our director in the Midwest, you can see how very, very critical this work is and continues to be. Thank you very much. Thank you out there, and we'll see you next time on Stand With Us right here on JLTV.